Okay, in our second example, you can determine what you're trying to find in the first sentence. So this developer is building a new apartment complex consisting of 1 bedroom, and then 2 bedroom, and then 3 bedroom townhouses. Okay, so what we're going to do here is define our variables. We're going to need 3 of them. And so X in this case is going to be the number of 1 bedroom units, apartments, townhouses, whatever. And Y will let be equal to the number of 2 bedroom. And Z will be equal to the number of 3 bedroom units. So again, after we've accomplished that, we've defined our variables, we're going to now come up with the system of linear equations. So what do we know? Well, we know that there are a total of 192 units. So right away, we can do this equation. Number of 1 bedroom plus number of 2 bedroom plus number of 3 bedroom has to be equal to the total amount of 192. Okay, what else do we know? Well, it says the number of family units, that would be 2 and 3 bedroom townhouses, will equal the number of 1 bedroom units. So what that is telling us is that the number of 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom units must be equal to what? The number of 1 bedroom units. There's our second equation. And finally, it says if the number of 1 bedroom units will be what? So let's go ahead and do this. Let's write down the number of 1 bedroom units. So that's X. If the number of 1 bedroom units, X, will be 3 times, will be what? That's equal to what? 3 times the number of 3 bedroom units, which is Z. And then obviously if we were solving this, we would ultimately answer the question. But this is our system. Now with that being said, we don't want to leave it like this because again, ultimately we're going to look at this in terms of a matrix and we're going to use matrix operations to solve this system. So what we want to do now is rewrite it as follows. We want to make sure all of the X terms, Y terms, and Z terms are aligned using columns. And then our constant values are also in a single column. So what that means is if you look at this second equation, what we're going to do is we're going to subtract X from both sides. We're going to subtract X from both sides, which will give us this, negative X plus Y plus Z equals 0. Again, you want to have all your constants lined up in a column. And then in this last equation, what we're going to do is we're going to move the X from where it is now. Again, I just did this because it was easier for me to set it up, to come up with the correct equation. After I come up with the correct equation, I can move these terms around any which way I want as long as I'm following the properties of equality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this X from where it is now into the column of my X terms. And then the Y is actually not there. So I'm going to put plus 0, or you could just leave it blank, but I'm going to put a plus 0 for the placeholder. And then I'm going to subtract 3Z from both sides. So again, all my Z terms are now aligned in a column. And this is now equal to 0. So this is your system for our second example.